Alright guys, it's afternoon, Monday afternoon, beautiful. It's sunny finally after a weekend. It was raining and it started to snow. It's beautiful, but it's really chilly. I'm ready for a run here in Ocoee River in Tennessee. I decided to do a quick little video for truck drivers because I've been doing trucking for I don't know how long, 24 years right now about. And I learned how to take advantage of trucking, not the way around. Most of people, most of drivers ended up being fat, sick, and broke, divorced, and completely messed up. Instead of taking advantage of the trucking and make the most out of it and make a bunch of money, invest, become very successful financially, and also having good relationship with other people, they completely destroy their lives. A lot of them, I've seen it for all those years. I've seen majority of them really never had any good life, ended up broke, ended up either not driving truck because they got either wrecked or were sick or do all kinds of horrible violations. They couldn't drive anymore. So instead of taking advantage of the trucking totally destroyed their lives. And so I'll give you just a little background. I started driving 2004, right when I started, the first time I got my residency, my working visa in the United States. I immediately went to trucking school in Tampa, Florida, and I went to school and graduated out of the school there and went to work for a trucking company in Jacksonville, Florida. Didn't want to really drive for flatbed company, but for some reason it ended up that I had to just go with flatbed because I wasn't a citizen, and back then if you didn't have a citizenship or even a residency, full-time green card didn't have yet, I couldn't get a hazmat, and so the only one company would hire me would be flatbed company, and so that kind of worked out great. But I stayed there for a little while, got my experience, and moved up to a lease purchase with CRST, which was okay, but I didn't really like it how they were running things around. And eventually I bought my own truck, ended up leasing with Landstar, which was probably the best place to end up with, but still I didn't really like so much to be under control of somebody else. And although I love trucking, I love driving, one thing I didn't like about trucking was the fact that the second I stopped making money. And so I immediately when I started to drive a truck, I immediately started to work on my freedom. I wanted to create income based on other things than just driving truck. And so the main reason why I went to trucking actually was because I wanted to make money, I wanted to travel, and I wanted to stay away from my crazy wife, now ex-wife, thanks God. And so I had everything set up such a way that I could have my life the way I wanted. The only problem was I was afraid of that I won't be able to train, which I love the triathlons, and I train off season. I train only once a day, 6-7 days a week, but in season, full season, I usually train twice, sometimes 3 times a day. So I was afraid that trucking is not going to be able to give me enough time to be able to train twice a day. But eventually I figured out how to do it, and I train twice a day, 3 times a day, and I won pretty much every triathlon I went on, even while I was driving truck over the road. So there was no problem. So I figured out how to do it. In the meantime, while I was driving, because I had plenty of time, instead of sitting there and wondering and be depressed, I was constantly educating myself. I was watching YouTube, I was watching any kind of programs where I could educate myself how to make money while I'm not driving. And so I very early invested in cryptocurrencies, in Bitcoin and Ether and other cryptocurrencies, small coins, Cardano and Chainlink, and then eventually I bought a lot of silver, I remember I was buying Eagles silver. It was like $5 an ounce. Now it's like whatever, $100 now, more than that. And I had like, I don't know, thousands. I had like, I think I had 2,000 ounces of silver and had some gold. So it made me a lot of money, and then I was investing into land. I was buying old farmhouses, farm where they was all run down, and I was little by little restoring with my wife, and just when I restored, a bunch of people coming, they wanted to buy it. I didn't really want to sell it, but it just happened like that. And so, and still training. I was still training, and I'm still training. I'm still driving truck, even I don't go over the road anymore. I sold my truck, and I'm just driving for this guy locally. We did, like a little for junk place here, and with the dumpsters. But I control my time. Whenever I want to drive, I drive. Today I started 5 o'clock in the morning. I was home 1 o'clock. I had a little lunch, took a little nap, and now I drove up here, go for a run, go for about 10, 11 miles run. And then after running, I'm going to go to the gym, work out, and do swimming. So it's not really limiting me. Trucking has always been working for me all these years. So I'd like to just share some few things, some ideas, some tips how you can actually make the trucking working for you instead of trucking destroying your life and using your life to completely mess you up. That's where majority of the drug drivers actually ended up. So I like to just share my stories, my ideas, and maybe if it's something would resonate with you guys, you can use it and you can make the most out of it and have a good life and enjoy life and freedom, and maybe even build your financial freedom. So you don't have to drive if you don't want to drive. Sometimes I don't drive for 6 months or maybe even a year. I don't drive, and then I go back to drive for a few years if I want to. But it's not like I am desperate to drive or I have to drive, otherwise I'm gonna die. They just always make some other way to make money, but I love driving, so I always go back. If I need to make some extra, I'll go and make some extra money. But it's not something that I have to just be, like some guys 3 weeks out or even months on the road and come home for 2 days and rushing back out. That's ridiculous, and that's not healthy. It's not normal. It's you using the companies, and trucking is using you instead of using the companies, and instead of using the trucking for your benefit. So that was like a little quick ideas. So we can maybe every week I'm gonna get some video, and we can talk about how to become healthy while trucking, how to invest while you're trucking, so you can be more free, how you can build good relationships while you're trucking, because that's a great idea to build a relationship as well. So let's see how this is gonna go, and now we'll see. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.